Welcome to Momtroversial, the podcast that dives headfirst into the beautiful chaos of motherhood and dishes on the stuff we wish we'd known and nobody tells you. I'm Alyssa, a crunchy mom all about organic living. I'm organized, opinionated, and your designated wingwoman in any parenting bar fight. Tori and Leah are preparing for international moves, Leah with a newborn, so they're taking a well-deserved break right now, and Rachel is back for theoretically our last vaccine conversation, but I just looked at how much we have left to talk about, so we'll see how that goes.
At least a lot of it is pretty repetitive, I feel like.
I think so too, yeah. So the first thing that we just kind of want to push off on, I guess, is flu and COVID, because at 6 months they start recommending your kid gets those boosters because it doesn't work. So if you really want to talk about COVID, then check out the episode we did a couple weeks ago with Dr. Sam Sigaloff. He kind of goes into that, and he's an actual medical doctor with like actual medical research facts and thoughts and opinions. So that's pretty cool. I think we can both safely say we don't think they work. We think they probably do more harm than good. And you do you, but we won't be doing those.
Yeah, never have I ever received a flu shot.
Yeah. Every time I've gotten the flu shot, I've gotten the flu that the flu shot doesn't cover, but like I feel like it almost like takes away my immunity for any strain of flu. I don't know. But
Yeah.
again, this is all our opinions. Don't sue us. But doesn't make sense.
I will say too, I got the flu when I was pregnant with my first, and while yes, it was rough, I survived just fine.
That
And
is
in
actually a
fact,
great
I
point.
traveled on the tail end of it. We had a family trip planned. And I was traveling, and I did not take Thermoflu. Is it Thermoflu? Is that what it's called? Whatever that
Yeah,
Theraflu,
Theraflu.
whatever that awful toxic
It's like really bad.
medication they give you to help with the um symptoms of the flu. I didn't take that, and I was down for a couple days, but I was fine. So even if you're pregnant, don't recommend. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. I have gotten the flu and COVID almost every single pregnancy I've had, and I've survived. It sucked, don't get me wrong, but I survived.
I think
Um,
it sucks more though because you can't take anything to even help
yeah, you just have to
you
like
with
push through
anything.
it.
So
Yeah.
you just
Yeah, the flu shot also contains mercury. They call it thimerosal is like the official name. So, you know, I just don't want like they talk about mercury poisoning all the time. Take being pregnant. You're not supposed to eat certain amounts of fish because they contain so much mercury, but here, go pump your body full of it. No thanks. Um, but yeah, the COVID vaccine insert, if you looked at that, it's like the safety and effectiveness has not been established for individuals under 16, but they're recommending it for 6-month-old. They haven't checked, it has not been evaluated, no vaccines have, for carcinogenity, which is whether it causes cancer or not, genotoxicity, which it literally alters your genes, or impairment of male fertility. And pregnancy and breastfeeding safety has not been determined. It's just a guess. Maybe it'll help. Maybe it won't.
doubt it.
Okay, we'll get off that soapbox. What about your 12 to 15-month-old? Um, so now we're talking MMR. MMR is like super controversial, I think. MMR is up there with DTaP. Um, I had a doctor tell me that, okay, first of all, he was so old, okay? Like I'm talking would not be surprised if like he had like keeled over in front of me. Okay, he was so old. And he told me when he was a little boy, okay? So again, so old, like maybe there wasn't running water. he that was mean, but he was really old. He was like, the measles was the sickest I've ever been. He was trying to get me to give Reagan the measles vaccine. I was like, okay, but like, are you fine now? He was like, yeah. And I was like, and he goes, but people die from the measles. And I was like, die or died? Because you know, he goes, well, I haven't heard of anyone dying recently. And I was like, so like, bro, like, give me some actual, like, verifiable facts, okay? Um,
It's that fear mongering tactic. I'm going to tell
yeah,
you whatever I have to tell you and hope
yeah.
you don't call me out on the validity of it
No, literally,
to try and get
literally.
you to do what I want you to do.
Literally. And then when I asked, he was like, well, you could just get the measles vaccine if you didn't want to get the whole MMR vaccine. I was like, okay, I wasn't aware that was an option. Like, and he goes, well, we don't give it to you here. Like, we don't have it here. We were in Korea at the time, so it's not like we had like tons of options. And I was like, why are you even telling me this? But I was trying to keep an open mind. So I was like, okay, can you give me, like, do you know what an FDA insert is? Can you give me that for the measles vaccine? He's like, yeah, I'll have my nurse bring it in. So the nurse brings in not the FDA insert. She brings in the like propaganda CDC sheet
Out.
that they give you. And so at that point, I'm like, okay, so there's two options. And I wish I had confronted him further on this, but I just left because I was annoyed. Um, I was like, either you have no idea what an FDA insert is, so you have no idea the side effects or like anything more than medical school, let's be honest, didn't teach you about the vaccine,
Mhm.
or you're purposely trying to mislead me. None of which are good options.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that guy irritated me. And, you know, you just like the odds, what you really have to look at, and what we actually looked at a lot for when we put in Ryan's vaccine exemption for the Army, was from straight from the CDC website of like, okay, how many people get this disease or virus or
Mhm.
whatever? Then how many people is it serious for? And then how many of those people die from it, you know?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it like the number is microscopic
Yeah.
to put these ingredients in your body and that kind of thing. And again, that was from the CDC website, okay? Like, we're not making stuff up here. We're using government resources to say, to prove the government wrong, which shouldn't be so easy, but it is. Anyways, measles has no long-lasting effects. This is all from the vaccine friendly plan. Measles has no long-lasting effects. It's contagious. It's miserable. Very few people die from it. Vitamin A deficiency actually is a contributor to susceptibility for the measles. So instead of maybe getting your 1-year old the MMR vaccine, maybe you look into getting their vitamin A tested and like ensuring their vitamin A is boosted, that kind of thing. That's what we did with, I think, Reagan and Kennedy. And I got serious pushback when I asked to test their vitamin A from the doctors. They did not want to do it. They just wanted to drop the subject altogether. And, you know, if you're really interested in my kid's health, why wouldn't you want to know that?
Yeah.
You know? Do you have any thoughts about the measles?
I don't really. Honestly, a lot of these later on vaccines, we didn't do any. I knew I wasn't going to. I don't love the idea of injecting um a bunch of live viruses into my children at one time. Um, but um rubella, which we'll talk about in a second, I found out when I was pregnant that I no longer had the immunity to, because I did have that vaccine when I was younger. And again, it just goes back to that point of why do we
Doesn't
have to keep
work.
getting these? If they're supposed to stick, if it's supposed to give me an immunity, why do I have to keep getting them? I should
Yeah.
not have to keep getting them for the immunity. No, measles, we just, it was never an option for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Mumps, which is the second M in MMR, is also super mild. Like no one's died in recent history. And rubella has been considered eliminated from the US and is also super, super mild. So again, maybe you could say, well, it's the vaccine that eliminated it. Okay, but it's eliminated it. So like, why do
Was
we
I was
care?
just going to say, the kickback to that comment of it's eliminated is going to be, well, it's because of the vaccine. Okay, fine. I'll play into that. If it's eliminated, why are we still giving it on a regular basis? If it's
Yeah.
eliminated and we believe the vaccine did it, then let's stop giving it. And guess what? If it ever comes back, then I guess we can try again. We already have the vaccine in place and ready to go. Then we can roll it out again if we need to. So it's just that,
Yeah.
again, I said this, I don't remember if it was the first or second episode, but I said this, that I feel like a lot of these vaccines come back to convenience. We want to make sure we don't get sick because it's inconvenient to be sick. Especially when you're talking about these diseases that really are very rare, if not non-existent anymore. Why are we still giving vaccines for things that aren't around anymore, if for anything other than we're being proactive so that we don't get sick because it's inconvenient. I
Hmm.
just, yeah, I'll play into the vaccine did it, but my argument to that then will be it's gone. So why are we still giving it?
Yeah. Well, they also say that rubella it's like a super mild issue in kids. It can be more dangerous for young adults and pregnant women. Um,
But
so
you cannot get the rubella vaccine when you're pregnant. So it's kind of like,
you
which I
have to get
found
it
that out
before.
when I was tested
Yeah.
during pregnancy, and they told me, well, you no longer have this immunity. And I'm like, okay. And then they said, but you can't get the booster while you're pregnant. And I'm sitting here. Oh, okay. So it's more dangerous for pregnant women, but you don't but if I'm already pregnant, it doesn't matter. Like I can't do anything about it anyway. So I guess if I'd had that immunity, I would have been protected, but
Make it make
I
sense.
don't know.
Yeah, again, do your research on, okay, it can be dangerous for pregnant women and young adults, but what is can be dangerous? Are we talking about 0.003% of the young adults and pregnant women who get rubella are XYZ, and rubella has been eradicated from the US? Maybe if you're traveling, look into it. If you're planning on traveling, you might, but like, just let's be logical about it?
Yeah, I'll take my chances.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just crazy. Um, in the US, just FYI, your chance of dying from the measles is literally 1 in 1 billion. So,
Cool. Like I
you know,
said, I'll take my chances.
again, yeah, I will take my chances on as like rashes. Goodness gracious. And I think the next one is chickenpox, which uh I am also, when I was pregnant with Kennedy, I found out I was no longer immune to chickenpox, even though I had the vaccine when I was younger.
So you didn't have
Um
the chicken pox.
no, I never had the chickenpox, but I vividly remember one of the first times we had Bible study after I had recently met you. Your mom came because she was visiting, and you guys were talking
I know where
about
this is
how
going.
you would you guys were talking about how like you were getting to the age with your kids where you would take them to a chickenpox party, and this was before I had done any type of research, and I just remember listening to this conversation like, I don't think they're crazy, but like this is crazy.
I was gonna say, so I don't remember. I don't
And now
remember
I would
how
do
my
the same thing.
for sure. I don't remember how my brother ended up getting the chicken pox. I don't know if my mom took him to a chicken pox party or if he just randomly happened to get it. But I do remember after he got it, my mom was like, get over by him, be close to him. I want you to get it. Cause I think he was around 11 or 12 and I'm 3 years younger than him. And so it was reaching that point where it was like, okay, if you don't get it soon, we might need to look into the vaccine because chickenpox, if you get it as an adult, can be quite a bit
Worse.
more dangerous.
Yeah.
Um, and so I do remember, and I'll be honest with you again. And this is the one when I talk about convenience, this is the one that I am like, there is absolutely zero need for this vaccine. Zero. Um, but I got it at Christmas time. So guess what? I was home while my family was celebrating Christmas with all my extended family. I remember my grandma having to Photoshop me into the family Christmas card with all of the cousins because I was still recovering and there we had young cousins, little
Yeah.
cousins that we didn't want to get it. And so I get it. Like it's inconvenient, it's annoying, it's frustrating. But guess what? It was like 2 or 3 weeks out of my life. I'm totally fine. I was totally fine
And now you
and
have immunity to it.
now I
Complete,
have immunity to
actual,
it.
real immunity.
Yeah. So I think when I talk about convenience, this is the one that nobody. I'm sorry, I'm not going to say nobody because that's not true, but almost nobody dies from the chickenpox. Have you ever heard of somebody dying from the chickenpox? No. I mean, it's just, and I would venture to say, and I can't say this with certainty, but I would venture to say that people who do die from the chickenpox, they had some other form of
Yeah.
um some type of, maybe they
Underlying.
were immunocompromised or they had
Mhm.
some type of underlying something or other. So and I get it. I get it. Like I don't want to be held up in my house for 3 weeks with a child who won't stop itching themselves. I understand that, but um not at risk of giving them this. So my kids have not gotten it yet, but if I hear of anybody, you best believe you will find me at their house hugging those.
Play
My kids will
date.
be hugging and playing with the same toys.
Uh, yeah. Well, a few facts from Dr. Paul on chickenpox. There's two vaccines that are available. One is the Varivax vaccine, which is only chickenpox, and one is Proquad, which is MMR plus chickenpox. And a frequent side effect of the Proquad is febrile seizures as well as it's a live virus one, so like chickenpox side effects, getting the chickenpox. Varivax also has a ton of side effects. Um, and apparently the death rate pre-vaccine was 103.7 million, which were mostly adults and, like you just said, immunocompromised children. Um, so it's not really doing much. It doesn't last forever. At 27, I was no longer had immunity. I assume I had immunity when I was pregnant with Reagan, so it was recent, but I don't know if they ever tested me. Who knows? It is also manufactured using aborted fetal tissue, if that is something that is important to you. And I will link an episode that just the inserts did with a, gosh, I don't know the official term, but she used to like create and like study vaccines and that kind of thing, and it helped create them. And she talks about what actually goes into harvesting fetal tissue from aborted babies, and it's like not pretty. Like honestly, just go listen to the episode because it's awful. Um, it's not the it's not the like, oh, this is happening anyways, so we're just gonna benefit from it thing that everyone talks about. It's intentional. The baby is kept alive and unsedated, no
Oh,
anesthesia, nothing, while their organs are literally harvested. So
wow.
that's the really easy version of how she tells it, and that is terrible. So yeah, we'll
Yeah.
link that episode in the show notes because I think it is really something really important. If you do say you're pro-life, you should know about this and it should affect how you look at some of these vaccines. And not all of them do use aborted fetal tissue. So like, you know, you're not SOL if you really, really want to get vaccines. But it is definitely something that I think should be considered when you're looking at this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, chickenpox. Nasty rash, sucks for a couple weeks, but you're not gonna die. So, I don't know. Why are you injecting yourself with that? Oh,
And again, the first time these are injected is 12 to 15 months. So we're still talking
Mhm.
about,
A baby.
I guess it depends on whether your baby has some chunk on them or not, but mine were little. Couldn't mine I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but I bet you my children weighed around 20 to 22 pounds at 12 months old. So again, we're putting these at one time. They are recommended to do all of this at one time in a little bitty baby. So
Yeah. Again, just it's the risk benefit. The benefit does not seem to be there to
yeah.
compared to the risk at least. So we've talked about MMR and chickenpox. So measles, mumps, rubella, chickenpox. That's 4 vaccines so far that your baby is supposed to get. Your 12-month-old, 12 to 15-month-old. Um,
And correct me if I'm
yeah.
wrong, but aren't maybe it's changed, but all four of those are live vaccines, are they not?
I believe Varivax is not a live vaccine.
Varivax is not.
Yes,
Okay.
but MMR is.
Yeah. So
So,
there's the potential for injecting four live. If you did the Pro Quad where you've
mhm,
got all four of it in one, you're injecting four live diseases into your 12-month old.
yep.
The diseases that you're injecting into them are the ones you're trying to prevent. So
Exactly.
just
There's also, to bring it up to 6, pneumococcal and Hib, which we've already kind of talked about, but those are also boosters that are recommended again at 12 to 15 months, again, because they don't work. So you need a booster. um, but and the last one to bring that fun count up to 7 is Hep A, which can be a severe sickness. But it is overwhelmingly mild in young children. So why are we giving it to our babies? Additionally, exclusively breastfed babies, which to be fair, your 12 to 15-month-old is probably not exclusively breastfed, um, are safe because it's not transmitted through the blood. I was told at 4 months that KK should get Hep A because we were traveling to Thailand and we could get Hep A. And the doctor was like, yeah, she could get it. And I was like, she's exclusively breastfed. She couldn't get it. And she goes, no, she could. And I said, okay, is it transferred through the blood? Like, and she said, well, no. And I said, okay, then how could she get it?
how could you get it?
Like, and to her credit, the doctor was like, yeah, you know what? You're right. But like, but if I hadn't known to ask those questions,
Yeah. Again,
and
again, educate yourself.
yeah, um, the Hep A vaccine also has formaldehyde, polysorbate 20, and aluminum in it. And there's no research on injecting humans with other human DNA, what that does. Um, so that's like the Hep A vaccine is made with human DNA because it's manufactured using aborted fetal tissue. So we're injecting our kids with other human DNA. And on top of that, Hep A is so rare to be reported in children that it's hard to even determine if the vaccine is effective. So,
Again, we go back to this like
yeah,
contradictory information from the same source.
yeah,
Hey,
it's crazy.
we can't even test it because it's so rare, but here we're going to give every kid this vaccine.
Yeah, especially living in America where our water is, I don't think there's anywhere in America. I mean, sometimes people have like nasty water, but it's not, as far as I know, it's not water that's gonna like get you sick like going to Mexico or like Thailand, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Now
and typically when
that's
there
also
is
a whole
like
nother conversation,
a
but
bad water outbreak or something, we know about it and we're able
mhm,
to avoid it in enough time that this would not should not be an issue.
yeah. I mean, if that's the case, like you should never eat produce because what about listeria? Like it's just ridiculous. If you really follow the rabbit hole, you should just never eat anything. Okay. Um, or drink anything. Yeah. So the next few are like really quickies because they're all repeats. So 15 to 18 months, they want your kid to get DTaP again, 18 to 23 months. So like basically your 18-month appointment, they want you to get DTaP and a second dose of Hep A again because they don't work, so they need boosters. And then 4 to 6 years old, they want you to get DTaP again, polio again, MMR again, and chickenpox again. So Dr. Paul does say he would absolutely not get MMR until your kid is at least 3 years old, because of possible autism connections. Again, we're not going into that because I mean, if you want to read about it, go get the book. It is interesting. Um, and it's just like the autism thing is just so hard to talk about because it does, no parent whose kid has autism wants them to feel like, and they shouldn't feel like they're, less of a person or anything like that, or it's not your fault if your kid gets autism. Um, and we don't know for sure what the links are. There've never been any studies on it. I would say there's never been any studies on it, probably because there is a link and the vaccine manufacturers don't want to find it. But
Does does doesn't doc it's been a while since I read the book.
yeah,
Doesn't he refer to it in the book as regressive autism?
let's see.
I think I feel like I remember that, and specifying specifically that a lot of what he sees is regression and that they call it regressive autism, but maybe I'm
So he says, I have more than 100 families with children with severe autism in his practice, all of whom came to me after their children were diagnosed. Ask these parents about the MMR vaccine, and more than half will tell you that they lost their child shortly after that vaccine. Within days of
okay.
MMR, my 1-year-old started screaming inconsolably, banging his head on his crib rails, and stopped saying the few words he had been saying. He retreated into his own world, preferring to play alone, lost his eye contact, would spin things for hours. This is called regressive autism, which occurs when a child appears to be developing normal social and language skills, but then starts to lose them.
Okay.
Uh, for a lot of people, I guess it happened within hours or days of the MMR vaccine at 1 years old.
So I also want to kind of put this out there for people. I know somebody who experienced this, and she told me that she immediately started researching detox,
Mm,
detoxing, her a heavy metal detox,
uh-huh.
and got her child on. Started her child on some heavy metal detox and was actually able to reverse a lot of the regression that she had noticed. And so if you have done this or have noticed this in your child, um, or you look at everything and you decide you still want to do this vaccine but you want to be prepared, I would do some research into heavy metal detox and be ready. I mean, I would do a heavy metal detox anytime after giving any vaccine, but specifically MMR. So that's something to keep in mind too, that okay, we at least have this option if we do decide to still do vaccinations. And I think is it Dr. Green Mom that has,
She does have a vaccine detox. I want to say for
yeah,
kids and adults, but I'm
I
not.
believe she does
It's
as well.
definitely for kids. Hmm.
Yeah, I believe she does
We
as
can
well.
link to
So
that.
that's just something to keep in mind if you're, trying to find a way around. I still want to do this, but I'm worried about this. Obviously there's no guarantee, but um, I would highly recommend a detox, especially after MMR.
Yeah. I would challenge you though, if you're really looking into a detox after giving a vaccine because you're that worried about the vaccine, maybe look into more of, like, again, the likelihood of your child being hurt by the diseases that the vaccines are supposed to prevent. Because
Yeah,
if you're
I
that
agree.
worried about it, why are you doing it?
I agree.
Yeah. Um, so now your kid is 11 or 12 years old. Congrats. You kept them alive.
Can we
Um,
count? Have you
yeah.
counted how many vaccines they would have had by this point?
Actually,
So if you
Dr. Paul
take,
did.
okay, you
Um,
do. Okay.
although it's not, this was from 2016, so there's actually more now.
Okay, so
Um,
they get 6 at 2, 4, and 6 months. So that's 18. 3 at birth, 19. Then at 4 months, you get, or I'm sorry, if you get the flu and COVID shot at 6 months, that's 21.
And that's
Then
every
if you
6
get,
months to a
and that's every
year.
6 months. Yeah. So let's say,
Say you get it once a
let's just
year.
say you only get it once, just for
Mhm.
easy math. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different shots, 7 things you're protecting from at 12 to 15 months. If you're counting only the shots if you're counting the 7,
I would count the
that's
diseases or
28.
viruses.
That's
Yeah.
28. And then at 18 months, you get another DTaP, 29, 18 to 23 months, you get a Hep A, so 30. And then 4 to 6 years, you get 4 more shots, but, another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things you're protecting against. So by the time your child is 6 years old, if you follow the CDC schedule, they're getting anywhere from 35 to 40 shots by 6 years old.
With highly
Many of
toxic
which,
ingredients.
I was going to say, many of which
Yeah.
contain aluminum, formaldehyde, polysorbate 80, like
Mercury, like things that are
yeah,
directly linked to cancer that in any other situation, the government themselves tells you to avoid,
yes.
like in food and stuff.
And if you get the flu shot and the Tdap, you're supposed to get when you're pregnant too, or DTaP.
True.
You got to count those too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's wild,
It's crazy.
crazy.
Yeah. But don't worry, it's safe. Um, so your kid's 11, maybe 12. And when they're this age, they've transitioned from DTaP to Tdap. So they're getting the adult version of Tdap now, which I only say just to say it's the same thing, you know. Um,
I
so
don't
it's not a
understand why
new
they did that.
vaccine. Yeah. And then they also want you to get HPV. Uh, the HPV vaccine is newer. Um, there's 150 strands of HPV, and the vaccines we have protect against 9 max, depending on the vaccine you get. 9 strains out of 150. The deaths and adverse events are more than from the actual virus, so you're more likely to have an adverse um, event or die from the vaccine than the virus. Japan doesn't even recommend the vaccine anymore. Um, there's no control groups for Gardasil 9, which is the one that protects against 9 strains, theoretically. Um, and there have been 2,300 adverse effects from the vaccine to prevent less than 8 cases of cervical cancer. Again,
And
according
this
to Dr.
was
Paul.
in 2016.
Yes, for HPV.
This is
So,
I would dare say that this is probably the most controversial vaccine
yeah,
on the market.
until COVID at
Um,
least.
I will never touch it.
Yeah.
I
That
would
was one
never.
even my mom didn't touch.
Yeah,
She,
I would.
yeah,
I mean, it's wild to me that we're recommending it to 11 to 12-year-olds, although part of me is not surprised anymore. But it's there. I mean, story after story after story of girls and women who have awful side effects from this vaccine. Um, I mean, I don't know how it's still on the market.
yeah. Candace Owens does a really good series called A Shot in the Dark on vaccines, and she talks about her personal experience with HPV. She's a little crazy now, from what I understand.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it doesn't change. She also takes like government facts, like that the government provides us with. Um, so it doesn't change her facts. I just would maybe take her opinion with a grain of salt. But, who knows? Maybe I'm the crazy one. I'm sure some people are thinking that right now. um,
That's okay.
but yeah, so HPV, what's the point? Uh, okay. I gotta say this right. Meningococcal,
M-
meningococcal.
Meningococcal.
Yeah, meningococcal. So that is another one that they want to get you at 11 or 12 years old. There is a 10 to 15% chance of death with the disease, but it is very treatable if it's treated and not dismissed by a doctor. Um, the vaccine is mercury and aluminum free, but has a small amount of formaldehyde. Uh, Meningococcal is a huge thing in college dorms. So I'm not sure why we're giving it to 11 and 12-year-olds.
I was literally just going to say the same thing. Like,
Yeah,
obviously, it exists outside of college dorms, but I remember when I went to college, I had to either get that or do a um, some type of exemption for it or whatever.
yeah,
Actually, I lived in Illinois. I don't think there was the religious exemption, and I didn't have to get it because I didn't live on the dorms. That's why I ended up not having to get it. I didn't live in the dorms. I didn't live on campus. Um, but I was thinking the same thing. If it's like, obviously you can get it other places, but if the main concern is college dorms, I got 6 years.
yeah. This is, again, one of those things where, as a parent, if you educate yourself on this disease so that you're aware of the warning signs or that kind of thing, and you educate your child on it so when they're an adult, they can be aware of this, it's completely treatable. And, if you're raising your child to think independently and to stand up for themselves, which I think is everyone's goal, then your kid is not going to be dismissed by a doctor because they're going to say, no, you work for me. You need to test me for this. And the doctor can't say no. Like, they literally cannot say no. They're just going to make you feel like an inconvenience if they don't want to do it, which sucks. Like, it shouldn't be that way. But, like, again, we're raising our kids to be strong, independent adults that stand up for themselves. So, yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's annoying. Yeah, you might leave with a bad taste in your mouth, but you got tested and you got treated for something that you didn't have to die from because you stood up for yourself. Or, maybe you have a great doctor that's like, yeah, of course I'll test you for that. That's a really good point. I didn't think of that, that kind of thing. Or a doctor that does think of that and says, we're going to test you for this just in case. Um, so again, a vaccine for something that's completely treatable if you were just given good treatment, like
Yeah,
if you were listened to.
I think again, this goes back to what we said in one of the earlier episodes is it our medical system, our healthcare system, medicine, tests we have, treatments have come such a long way since a lot of these vaccines were created. And so I think it's time that we take a step back, we look back at these things and we at these vaccines and we go, okay, which ones are no longer necessary. Now we know that's not going to happen because
That takes away
money
billions of
making
dollars.
machine.
Yeah.
Yes, we know it's not going to happen. But as parents, as independent thinkers for ourselves and for our kids, um, you need to think about that. Some of these things may not have been as treatable 40, 50 years ago. Okay,
Mhm.
there's absolutely. But now with the advancements we have, a lot of these diseases are treatable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
It's progress, right? We keep saying progress, progress, progress. We need to make okay, let's make
yeah.
progress. Like, let's
Yeah.
acknowledge progress. But yeah, that's it. Only what, one, two, three, four, only five vaccines for your 11 or 12-year-old.
Not
Um,
bad compared to the
so
40
compared to
they're
what
going to
they give
get
you as the
between 0 to
baby,
6 years. Yeah.
yeah. Um, when your kid is 16, they want you to get a meningococcal booster and also meningitis B. Um, Again, meningococcal booster because it does not work.
I'm so
Uh,
curious. I'm so curious too as to why 4 years between the two doses. What's the science behind that? Is your first dose actually giving you the immunity, Or are you just kind of introducing it to your body, knowing 4 years later you're going to get it? Is your body hanging on to it for 4 years? It's just interesting to me. What's the science behind the time frame between the two doses, and and why, other than what we already know, which is doesn't work, doesn't
Yeah.
stick around. Otherwise, you wouldn't need a booster. But why I'm just curious the science behind the timing of when we give these different doses.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. Because if you think about it, 12 to 16, like you said, 4 years. Well, 16 to 20, most people are in college until they're like 22 or so. So,
Right. So we're not
and
even
then you just
giving.
never give it again. Like they don't recommend it
Well,
again.
yeah. I mean, they don't. If you do it on the CDC schedule, yeah, it's not recommended again. So we're literally giving this vaccine for something that's m- the majority of our concern is college dorms. Um, for one, we're giving it to kids who we don't even know if they're going to go to college. Like what? At 12 years old, you don't know what you're doing. But then two, we're giving them both doses of it years before they're even going to be
Yeah,
in the place we're
makes no
most concerned
sense.
about. It just doesn't. The math ain't
Makes
mathin'.
no sense. I will say to your point that you made, I think in one of the first episodes, about Dr. Paul's book is it's not just like a vaccine book, right? He talks about, his plan for preteens and teens. Eat dinner together, make smart food choices, maybe consider supplements, exercise, limit TV,
Yeah.
video games, social media, promote positive peers, create an atmosphere of openness with your child, seek support for yourself and your child if you need it. And then he goes into vaccines, but like his first seven recommendations for your child are all just like essentially mental health recommendations. And so if you're like wondering about this book, and you're like, I just don't want to read a book of totally about vaccines. It's kind of a parenting book from a doctor's perspective and a really, what's the word? Unbiased doctor's perspective, I would say. Um, and
I
I
would
just
say
think that's also
especially
invaluable.
especially unbiased, because when he wrote this book, he was not anti-vax.
True. Yeah.
So
He
I
does
think if
recommend
you're
a lot of
looking
them.
truly for a really good balanced approach, I almost wish he would have named it a different name, because I think the names probably scares a lot of people away. I
On
actually
both
feel
sides.
like, I mean, yeah, he touches yes, on both sides. He touches heavily on vaccines for sure, but he touches, I would say, just as much on lifestyle choices,
Mhm.
you know, other than vaccines throughout the book. So
Yeah.
it really is. I mean, it's just a good book. It's
It's a
a
really
little
good book.
it's a little bit outdated, I guess, now being, 10 years old, but um the premise is still there, and if nothing else, it starts to
Get the
open your
wheels
mind to the
turning.
idea, yeah, that there
Yeah.
is another way to go about this. You don't
Yeah.
have to do what they tell you to do.
I love it. So yeah, back to your 16-year-old, meningococcal booster, meningitis B. The vaccine for meningitis B is called Bexsero. It has 519 micrograms of aluminum in it, which is like so much aluminum. Okay. I s- sh- why? Why do we think like why? Why? And not only that, but it's meningitis B. It covers strain B, which is found in younger children, not older children, but it's not approved for younger children. So, why are we getting a vaccine in our older child, almost adult, for a virus that is found in younger children, not older children, and the vaccine is not even approved for younger children?
My
So
bigger
why
question
not?
would be my bigger question is, why is it not approved for younger children?
Yeah.
Because we know the crap that's in the vaccines approved for younger children. I mean,
Mhm.
if I look back, there's one that had what, 625 micrograms of
DTaP, I think. Yes.
um aluminum in it. So it's I'm looking at our notes right now.
Here we go. Yeah,
Well,
Infinrix DTaP,
polio has polio.
625.
Yeah, if you get one of the combo vaccines, there's one with 850 micrograms.
Pediarix, which
So,
is DTaP, Hep B, and polio.
yeah. So, if we can give a newborn or a 2-month-old, I suppose, still newborn in my eyes, but if we can give a 2-month-old uh at 2, 4, and 6, so over 4 months time frame, we're giving them 2400 2500 micrograms of aluminum um in a 10 to 12 pound baby. What is
Which,
so
again,
bad in this
it's supposed to be 4 to
meningitis?
5 per kilogram per day.
Yeah.
So,
But if but we're giving them 2500 in a 4-month period. What is so bad in this meningitis vaccine that it's not okay? It's not approved until you're 16. It contains even less aluminum, so we know that's not the issue. So it's that makes me wonder so much what else is in this, or what is this one about? What is it? Because why is it not
yeah,
approved?
yeah. There is also another option, an alternative to Bexsero called Trumenaba, but that has 180 micrograms of polysorbate 80, but only 250
Oh,
micrograms of aluminum.
fabulous. But it, again, still not
So,
approved for
not
young
approved for
kids.
younger children. Maybe it's slightly safer from a toxin perspective. Maybe. But it's still likely unnecessary. So why are we even injecting them with these toxins? Like, you know, aluminum and polysorbate 80 and all these kinds of things are not good for your body, period. It's downright criminal that they give it to babies. But like, even if you're technically within the safety weight limit, there's a safety weight limit because it's not good for you.
Well, and again, and you said this, I think, in the first episode. This is from a vaccine standpoint only. The recommendations are the entire day of your entire day. So that includes food, drinks, environment, whatever other exposure you have. So
Yeah. You know how much food has polysorbate 80 in it?
polysorbate.
A
I was just
known
thinking the same thing.
carcinogen?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Plus the vaccine that you're getting? Goodness gracious. Um, those vaccines
Yeah.
are Bexsero is a 2-shot series and Trumenaba is a 3-shot series. So you're not just getting one shot of those, FYI. You're getting a few shots of those over a couple months when you're 16.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then they want you to get, your flu and COVID every year, annually, once you're older.
Fabulous.
Yeah. No thanks. There is a shot that we haven't talked about that they recommend mostly for older, like super older people and babies. Uh, RSV. People are very scared of RSV. Rightfully so. RSV is scary for your baby. Um, but it's brand new. Like this vaccine is like super new. Like wasn't even available when Reagan was a baby. So that's how new it is. And Reagan's 4. Kennedy is more susceptible to this, like to RSV because she has asthma. And I just would never consider getting this for her because you don't like your baby has RSV and it's scary, but it's scary and you're being treated, you know? Again, if you're really paying attention to your kid, if you are um if you're tracking what's going on, it's no more scary than the flu where they're throwing up and they could get dehydrated because you're paying attention to it. Because you are
Yeah.
a good parent, whether you get vaccines or not. You are most likely paying attention to your child. Uh, like
Yeah, there's no way I
nothing,
would give this.
yeah, nothing about the safety's been studied. It has polysorbate 80 into it. It says don't give it to your child. These all say it, but don't give it to your child if they have any contraindications, which just means like if they're allergic to it. You know how like all the um vaccine and like drug studies are like, don't take this if you're allergic to it. How do you know if you're allergic to it? until you
Thank you.
find out. Like,
Well,
what?
also my mind goes to the place of, okay, we're talking about a newborn or a 6-month old who, if you're breastfeeding, they are likely exclusively breastfed. How do
Yeah,
you know if they're allergic to anything
you have
else? I
no
mean, you
idea.
might know if they have a little bit of a dairy intolerance, if
Yeah.
you drink too much milk or have too much cheese, but like, how do you know that they're allergic to anything? So again, and really that goes to all of the vaccines, but
Mhm.
specifically these new ones, and it seems to me like they rolled this one out real fast. Like it
Oh,
wasn't a
yeah.
thing, and then all of a sudden it was a thing, and it was right after COVID. So I've got my own thoughts and theory on that, but I just, how do you know your child has any contraindications if they're 2 months old?
Yeah. No, you don't.
You don't,
Um, it has,
especially
like,
if they're exclusively breastfed.
yeah, listed side effects are anaphylaxis and death, okay? Again,
Great.
these side effects don't get listed unless they're statistically significant. It's not just, "Oh, this happened one time." So, like, it's like they go through because they don't wanna list it, like, they
Yeah.
prove it, essentially. Um, it says, "Don't use it if you're pregnant or may become pregnant, but use it on your baby." That's fine. um, because the carcinogenesis, mutagenesis, and reproductive toxicity has not been studied. If you look at, I believe it's section 13, Dr. Sam talked about it. In every single vaccine insert, it will say the carcinogenesis, mutagenesis, and reproductive toxicity has not been studied. So that is links to cancer, uh, literally mutilating your genes, your DNA, changing your DNA, and affecting reproductive health has not been studied. And let's just
Might
talk
not
about
have
that real quick
I was gonna say, it might not have
because,
been studied, but can we talk about the issues we have in the world with reproduction?
yeah, the reproductive issues we have, the huge spikes in cancer, um, and all of the, again, this is my opinion. I don't actually have any science to back this up, but affecting your DNA, changing your DNA, and all of the immunocompromised people in this world or people that have autoimmune diseases, like that's because your body literally is not responding to things the same way that other people's bodies do, you know? So like that to me sounds like your DNA has been changed. Something has been altered to jack that up. And I'm just saying, again, you know, IVF is helping a lot of people have babies. Okay. But IVF doesn't make money unless your reproductive health is bad. So what about that?
I certainly don't think it's a coincidence that as we have given our children 70 shots by the time they're 18 years old, that
Yeah.
we're now seeing massive amounts of infertility. And listen, I'm not trying to
We're
minimize
so
anybody's infertility
unhealthy.
struggle here, or
Yeah,
or
for
make
sure.
you feel like it's your fault. That is not at all. People have auto I had an autoimmune disease, and I hadn't had vaccines in probably 10, 15 years. So I believe that they exist outside of that, but we also can't gloss over the fact that as our country is incredibly unhealthy and we are injecting ourselves with all kinds of crap, you can't ignore the facts, and the facts are that these numbers, especially infertility, is just, it's skyrocketing. So what do we do? How do we we got to change something.
But yeah, just like think about it, just, maybe you don't believe us. Maybe you only believe us for some of them. Maybe you want to get vaccines, but like think about like what is the harm in just getting them one at a time, other than you're not doing exactly what the government tells you to do, which if that's your real concern,
Yeah.
that's also something you need to look into. But no judgment. Okay. Um, Momtroversial moments, unless you have anything else to think or say?
I would just say educate, educate, educate. That's the biggest thing I can say. I am not anti-vax as a whole. I'm not pro-vax as a whole. My family, I am anti-vax for my family. Um, but I am pro education. I think it is so, and pro informed consent. It is so, so, so highly important that you, as the mom or dad or guardian or caretaker of your child, know what's going in their body, just like you want to know what you're feeding them. You want to know, you know, what they're around, what they're not around, what they're exposed to, what they're not exposed to. N Do the same for vaccines. Educate yourself.
Mhm.
If you read up and you do as much education as you can and read from both sides of the argument, don't just read from one
Yeah.
versus the other, read from both sides. If you read up and educate yourself and you sit back and you go, "You know what? We're still gonna do this," then good on you. That is
Yeah.
A-okay. I am for that. Um,
Mhm.
I just think it is so incredibly important that you know what you're doing and then you can move from there. I mean, we said it before, knowledge is power. So,
Yeah.
um that's my last spiel.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And, like, clearly we have our opinions, like, duh, but we're also not sitting over here judging you for vaccinating your kid,
Absolutely
you
not.
know? That's, like, the biggest thing that I think COVID really brought out, like, I don't care what you do. Now, will I bring my newborn around your vaccine shedding 2-year-old? Probably not. I'm probably gonna schedule the play date for a month later or a few weeks later, you know? Um, but you do you, and let me do me, and, like, chill out.
Yeah. Yeah, and to your point as well on the flip side, Liz, if I know your child is immunocompromised, I'm going to tell you that my children are not vaccinated. I'm not going to be that parent that just shows up around a child that I know cannot get sick with my unvaccinated children without telling you, without giving you the option. Um, and I won't be offended if you tell me no. So again, it's just don't judge me. I'm not going to judge you. I don't care what you do. Don't care what I do. Let me make my decisions and you can make your own. That's really all
Amen.
it is. So
Yeah. Imagine if it was just that simple.
wouldn't it be great?
Oh, well, momtroversial moments. Um,
Oh,
I texted you one that I just had to, like, look up because I forgot what it was. But the other day, Reagan, I'm at that point at the time of this recording, I'm 36 and not enough days pregnant, 36 weeks and 4 days, I think. Um, 36 and 4. It's fine. We're fine. But a couple weeks ago, Reagan, she wanted me to get up or something. And that just, takes so much effort at this point in my life. But she wanted me to get up. So I was kind of like slow rolling it just because I didn't want to get up. And she like grabs my hand. She goes, "Mom, help me help you," which I say to them all the time. But the fact that she said it like in perfect context like that was hilarious. I died.
that is great.
Uh,
She is your girl,
she is my child for sure. Ryan's like, she already negotiates with me. This is terrible.
man. Oh my gosh, you said that and I remembered what mine is. Okay.
Okay. Okay,
This
give
is
it to us.
so okay, so we were on our we went and did a quick beach trip this last weekend and we were on our way back and my kids have tablets. It is monitored, but they have tablet time, especially on a 7.5 hour drive home. So they're playing their tablets, and I told Annabelle, my oldest, she's 8. She goes, I said, it's time to shut it down. You're going to take a break. You can play it a little bit later, but time to shut it down, read a book, do some coloring. I don't care. Look out the window, be bored. And so it was about 2.5 hours later. She goes, Mom, can I play my tablet? And it had, I think, like 11% left. I said, yes, you can play it till it dies. And when it's done, it's done. Like, that's going to give her another like 15 minutes max. Like, perfect.
Yeah.
So she starts playing it. And all of a sudden, I just kind of realize it should be dead. And I look back and it's plugged in, charging. And I said, Annabelle, I said to her, I said, Annabelle, didn't I tell you you could play that till it dies? She goes, yeah, you did, but you didn't say I couldn't plug it in. I was like,
Sucks when they get
oh
smart, man.
my gosh. So I naturally, I was like, listen, you're not wrong. I didn't say that, but you knew what I meant, didn't you? Yeah, I did. So, uh, I was like, oh my gosh. But I was like, this is the perfect controversial moment. That's why I didn't text it to you because I was driving. I was trying to remember why I didn't write it
Good
down.
call.
But I was like, oh
Oh
my
my gosh.
gosh. 8 years old, already thinking past me. Oh, I'm in some trouble, but
That's
that
hilarious.
was my moment.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. Well, thank you everyone for joining us on this very controversial topic. I hope that it was useful or entertaining or something for you. I hope that you still want to rate us 5 stars and follow us because that really does help. Um, Considering something just told me, what was it? It was like our podcast analytics or Spotify analytics was like, just so you know, most podcasts along your lines have more followers than you do. And I was like, okay, cool.
Thanks, Spotify.
So, yeah, so feel free to give us a follow. Apparently we need it. Spotify doesn't think we're doing too hot. But we're just here for a good time, so it's fine. Yeah. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Like, subscribe, follow. If you have any like questions, comments, major concerns, because I'm sure someone does, feel free to let us know about it. I'm always down for a good debate, clearly. But yeah, thank you so much, and thank you, Rachel, for being brave enough to come and talk about this with me.
Thank you. It was fun.
We'll talk. Awesome. Talk to you guys later.